Hey beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josie with Awakened Soul, and we're here for a reading about the person on your mind and your connection to each other. Today's reading is going to be focused on the past versus the present and what has changed and shifted so far between you and your person. I'm super excited for our reading here today. We are going to get started by basically talking about their point of view, how they viewed you in the beginning of your connection, and how things have shifted and changed into how they view you now, what they see within you now in your connection. And not only are we going to be talking about the changes from their perception, we're going to be talking about the changes in general. So whereas these are more subjective points of view from your person, this is going to be the objective truth of how things have actually changed. So not necessarily from your point of view or theirs, but what the reality is behind the shifts of the connection. When we're done with this first spread that I've gotten out for us, we are going to dive even deeper using the tarot, where we are going to just basically dive even deeper into their reality of how they have seen you change and shift, their overall thoughts and feelings about you presently, so on and so forth. I'll also be getting out some channeled messages to see what they would like to say to you right now, if they felt like they could be open and honest. And then I will end our reading here today with a short message from Universe just for you to help you recenter your energy and bring your focus back inward towards yourself. So I am very excited. Let's get into the reading. I do ask that as we go along here today, if you find yourself enjoying it or really resonating with the messages, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and don't be shy about typing below in the comments if there's something you would like to share with the community. So let's get into it. I want to start in chronological order. We're going to get started with the past here. Representing your person's original perspective of you, we have the trickster archetype as well as the mountain archetype. And I didn't ask for specifically like any deeper details behind that. I felt really called to just get general information out. What I'm getting from these two combinations is that your person found you to be a little bit mysterious, and they were highly suspicious of you in the beginning. So when you first met this person, you came across, I just heard the word femme fatale. So you don't have to be feminine for this to be your reading, but it's giving off like, I guess, the aura of mystery, a little bit of seduction, and it made your person overall feel quite confused. Maybe they were picking up on some kind of mixed signals coming from you, or at least from their perspective, they were having a really difficult time understanding how you worked, what made you tick, whether or not they could trust you, if you were maybe pulling a fast one on them or not. And they felt like you were the type of person that had a lot of hidden secrets, a lot of hidden chambers to the way your mind works. And they were basically fascinated by you. They kind of felt pulled in by the siren's call because they found you to be extremely alluring, very magnetic. At the same time, they were quite suspicious and they felt like maybe they should stay away, but they could almost like, it's almost like they couldn't help themselves but be called in by you and your energy. And that alone kind of made them a little bit suspicious, almost as if like maybe you were casting a spell on them, or there was some sort of, oh, I just lost the word. A word just came through. It was perfect too. Sorcery in a way, you know what I mean? Like it was almost like this person felt like they were out of control, but at the same time they low-key loved that. So very interesting. That is how your person first perceived you. Now, when we're talking about their current perception of you, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that things have changed pretty dramatically. We have the mediator archetype as well as Anima Mundi. And when this card came out, I got the message that it's like you've encompassed their whole world. Like they kind of feel almost as if their whole world revolves around you at this point. So this could be a current partner of yours, or if you're not like in a relationship with this person, I would honestly say that most of their waking hours and maybe even sleeping hours do revolve around you in some way. So even if you're not with them, this person is probably thinking about you nonstop. You kind of dominate the ways that they make decisions. So even if you're not with this person, they might make certain choices and certain decisions with you in mind anyway. Maybe how to impress you or stand out to you, or overall be in your good graces, I guess, because it seems like this person is very much focused on you and where you stand. And part of that is because they feel like it's something you just naturally deserve. So I think that what originally seemed like a mystery and maybe worthy of being suspicious of, they have now deemed as being able to understand you a little bit better. And I'm kind of getting mixed up on my words right now, so just bear with me, you guys. It could just be your person's attitude and energy, to be honest. And I just heard flabbergasted. Like in the beginning, they were very confused and flabbergasted. Now they feel like they have a better understanding of who you are. And maybe part of them still believes you're a little bit mysterious, but I think the suspiciousness has faded. They no longer are suspicious of you. They view you as somebody who's very fair, very balanced. You are more concerned about creating harmony in connections than favoring yourself. So maybe in the beginning, this person thought maybe you were a bit selfish, or you wouldn't necessarily put other people before yourself, or they just didn't really understand your character yet. And now that they've gotten to know you a bit better, they feel like in general, maybe you're a little bit too self-sacrificing, or you are really willing to put other people's needs above your own if you think it's for the greatest good of the situation. With the mediator archetype, we have this energy of negotiation and negotiation of fairness and balance. And so I think your person really appreciates that about you, and they see that you are the type of person that really values harmony, and maybe that's part of why they consider their whole world to kind of revolve around you at this time, because they've deemed you as somebody who is in fact worthy of their time, energy, and attention, whether or not the two of you are together or not. They want to be with you. I could tell you that for sure. If you aren't together, that is something they would be really happy about. They would really want to have happen if possible, because they seem to already have deemed you as the type of person that they could really grow with and build with, because you would be fair with them and the two of you could maybe have a harmonious connection with each other. So now let's get to the good stuff, I guess. Right here in the center of the spread, we're going to be chatting about the changes that have occurred in this connection from start to present, okay? Now, this is all your person's perspective. To give one final PSA, you don't necessarily have to agree with either of these two sections for this to still be your reading, because this is from your person's point of view. It doesn't mean that it's the same as your point of view or even concrete truth, right? This, however, this section we're about to start chatting about is like the objective truth. This is the reality of things. So regardless of how your person's perceived it or how you've perceived it, this is what has actually occurred in the dynamic from start to present, okay? We have the Great Work as well as Wise Salt and the Great Serpent, also known as Ouroboros. So it could also be that Ouroboros symbolism is important to this connection. Maybe roses are, or rainbows. I'm also noticing this is almost looking like a diamond or some sort of shining jewel over here. So any of those could be significant symbols. There's also a lot more jewels on this card I'm noticing now too. So diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, pearls, you name it. So what's happened from start to present in this connection, within the connection? I would say you and your person have been going through some cycles and also put an end to a lot of cycles in your own personal lives and maybe within the connection itself. So if there were like attachment issues or codependency issues or certain fears or triggers that one or both of you had brought into this connection unintentionally, I'm seeing here that something that has changed from start to present is endings of at least some of those cycles, and almost like a solidification of certain lessons that were meant to be learned. Okay, the great work has begun and it's not over yet. So this is not only telling me what's already occurred in this connection, but also the nature of the connection itself. This is intended to be a highly transformative connection for both of you. Now, the lessons you're learning and your person is learning might be different. Some of them might be the same, but I think that there are a couple of handfuls of lessons, I guess you could say, that both of you are meant to sort of transfer away from and break cycles. I also just heard ancestral karma. So maybe some of these patterns have carried on from generation to generation for at least one of you in this connection. And this connection between you and your person is meant to be like the stopping point of that ancestral karma or those ancestral patterns. It's meant to help you kind of snap out of it and break that cycle once and for all, so you don't continue to chase your tail and go in circles. So it's very interesting. Regardless of how long you've been in this connection with this person, I would say that you've probably been able to observe changes within yourself and likely changes within your person as well. Because again, this is the objective truth. This isn't just a point of view. So it's likely that if this is your reading, you've been able to see some of these changes in real time within yourself and your person. At least a couple of things. And maybe you've broken a couple of really difficult cycles. It could have also been that you've awakened that knowledge within each other. So even if a cycle hasn't been completely broken, maybe this person woke you up to something that does need to change, and vice versa, because I'm really seeing a lot of hard work being put into the selves in this connection. And not only like personal growth has come from this, I do feel like it's actually helped this connection to come into alignment as well. So there could have been certain relationship wounds or patterns that have been broken or are in the process of being broken because of this connection. You might notice that this connection feels different than any other connection you've been in romantically. So maybe it feels more peaceful. Maybe it feels more challenging. I'm thinking of so many different potentials of what this could be. One example they just gave me is maybe one of you was only interested in casual relationships, and this connection felt different and it feels more serious, or like it has the potential to break that pattern and get serious. And that's just one example. And I really feel like it's something that you and your person can't ignore. It's kind of right in front of your face. So if that doesn't sound like this connection, it might not be your reading, because this is definitely a very transformative connection and it's changing you and your person from the inside out in many ways. So that is what I am seeing here. Let's get out a few more cards. We're going to hop into the tarot next, where we're going to chat a little bit deeper into your person's experience and their point of view throughout this connection. And I do feel like talking about current energies, so I suppose that's what we're going to pull on first. So that's what I'm feeling called to do. So talk to me about this person's current thoughts and feelings about the viewer, please. Whoop, whoop. Okay, there we go. The Two of Wands. I just heard little by little. Maybe that means something to someone, or that's a phrase your person says or something. We also have the Emperor, and that's the Two of Wands, by the way, in case I forgot to mention it to you. We also have the Seven of Pentacles. I think that perfectly aligns with the phrase little by little. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay. We also have the Ace of Swords. Being able to properly communicate truths is really important. That's one of the lessons your person is learning from this, and maybe you are as well. If that sounds mirrored, that is a-okay. You're welcome to take that message as like a mutual lesson. You're meant to learn with each other, but at least on your person's end, they feel like you almost force them to be honest and truthful, and maybe that's one of the patterns they were meant to break in this connection. Excuse me, you guys, I'm still a little bit sick. I'm recovering, so bear with me. I might have to take a sip of water here. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I think your person has had a tendency to maybe be a bit of a liar, maybe a manipulator in past connections, not even strictly romantic connections. Maybe that was just a character flaw or defect that they had. And this connection is almost forcing them to be more truthful, to be more honest. They also just said you are highly intuitive, you're very intuitive, and or wise and intelligent. So that could be part of the reason you're in this connection for them and their benefit is because you're smart, you're intuitive, they can't fool you. You're 2 steps ahead of this person. So they feel like they almost have no choice but to be radically honest and upfront. The Ace of Swords, especially coming out with the Page of Swords here, is to me talking about truthful communication, being honest, and also bringing clarity and light to situations, especially when there's urgency behind them. Stepping into your power and them stepping into their power. That's another big thing your person thinks about. They kind of feel on top of the world with you. So regardless of if the 2 of you are an item or not, if you're together or not, this person feels very powerful in your presence. They feel like they have potential that they still have yet to tap into. And they see a side of themselves they don't necessarily see when not around you or before they met you. So maybe your person had some confidence issues prior to this connection. They could have struggled with insecurities or issues with self-doubt, but things have really changed within them since meeting you and deepening your connection. Something has inspired them to tap into their own personal power, and they also see that within you. I'm feeling called to share. They feel like you have become more powerful, or you're tapping into some of your untapped potential that they had seen in the beginning. And it's happening in small phases and small steps, baby steps, little by little. The seeds of growth may be small, but they're growing into something big as time has gone on. And they also see a lot of potential to continue to grow as time goes on. So if there was any doubt in your mind whether or not this person saw a future here or has thought about a future here with you, I would honestly say more than likely they do. They do see you being a part of their future going forward. That's not something that they're ignoring. They just feel at their gut, at their core, that you are meant to be a part of their world and that things are going to continue to grow as time goes on. And maybe it still feels like the beginning stages to them, but they are looking forward to what the future really looks like. We also have the Six of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles here. There could be something that they've been thinking about, like an offering coming in, an offering to travel, an offering to see each other. There could be a significant move or trip on the horizon that your person is thinking about, planning, and or considering, at least mulling over in their head. The Six of Swords does talk about movement, moving, travel, forward thinking, and then coming out with the Ace of Pentacles, there's an offering attached to it. So this could be in the form of an invite. Maybe this person is thinking about inviting you to travel with them. If this is a long distance connection, it could be like plane tickets, train tickets, or some sort of tickets to go see them. Even if it is long distance, like overseas or across country or something like that. And I'm not getting any indication of whether or not this is something your person's already set in motion or not, because I'm reading on thoughts and feelings, not necessarily intentions. However, they're thinking about it enough for this to come out in the spread, which tells me that there's probably a likelihood this person is at least planning it or thinking about offering this to you, or maybe coming up with some sort of idea of how it could happen in the first place. So especially if this is a long distance connection and things are complicated and you're not able to see each other very often, maybe it does require a lot of planning in order to make this work. And if this isn't a long distance connection, it could just be like a significant trip or travel or invitation to move forward in the connection, and your person feels like they need to get their bearings in order before actually having a formal conversation about it. However, based on the nature of your person and what they're learning and experiencing in the connection, I would say that more than likely this conversation is going to come up at some point in time. So let's get out some channeled messages now, and then we're going to hop into the tiles and charms for bonus confirmation and insight, after which I will pull your personal message from universe. Let's get a few cards out here. While I'm shuffling, I figured I would extend the invite, by the way, for those of you who are interested in exclusive readings or extended readings. I do have a Patreon. I also have a YouTube membership, and both of those contain different exclusive and extended readings. So I invite you to check that out if you're interested. The info for that is down below in the description box. I also have a link to my merch shop, as well as some other goodies. So you're welcome to check that out if you feel called to. And I'm going to pull out all of the channeled messages first, and then I will read them aloud to you. Feeling like I need to do 4. Okay, bye. We'll see how many come out from the handmade deck. Okay. Let's get a couple out here. That almost felt thick, like there were 2 attached to it, but there aren't. That's interesting. So maybe this is like double confirmed or mirrored. Oop. Interesting. I wasn't getting a separation energy from this reading, but it could be that for those of you who resonate with that, this is your confirmation, because we have ghosting coming out, or maybe that's happened at some point during this connection and your person is highlighting that. They've thought about that. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'll pull more if I feel called to. So from this deck, our first message is commitment. I want you to be a part of my future. We also have third party. There were other things that got in the way of us being together. We have mistakes. I wish I could right my wrongs. Missed opportunity. I didn't act when I should have. So let's talk about these cards first before I hop into the handmade deck. Like I was mentioning earlier, it does seem like your person has envisioned a future with you. That's something they do think about. They already feel like you're going to be a part of their future. Now, it could be that at some point in time, there has been third-party interference in this connection. I think a lot of times people panic when they hear third party because they assume it's like another romantic party. That doesn't always have to be the case. A third party truly is anything that's acting as a barrier or obstacle between 2 people in a connection. So it can be anything from a romantic third party to friends and family, coworkers, a job, a mindset, a habit, a pattern, anything of that nature. So this could be your person coming through to say that if there has been a separation, or if this hasn't been able to fully come into a commitment or like a formal relationship yet, that maybe third party interference is what has created that blockage here. Okay. We also have mistakes. I wish I could right my wrongs, paired with missed opportunity. I didn't act when I should have. So it could be that your person has like a little bit of fear of missing out. Maybe there was an opportunity to progress things here at some point that they didn't take. They regret that now. They wish that they could go back. Could involve the third party or not. It could even just be like a mindset here. And I'm not getting anything super heavy from this, so I don't think your person is like stressing out about it too much or like up at night thinking about it, but it is something that they want to get across to you. We also have I thought about you today, and that was the card that felt really like almost like there were two cards attached to it. So maybe you and your person are mirroring that energy towards each other. You're thinking about each other a lot, especially today. This is one of the cards that I created with the intention that when it came out in a reading, it is present, it's current energy. So today, as in whatever the day is that you're watching this reading, they have thought about you. And then of course, ghosting, which we've already talked about. I've thought about reaching out to you. And then up here we have, you don't know how many times I've almost called you. So there's a lot about this person wanting to reach you, wanting to reach out to you and communicate with you. So again, I haven't really been picking up on strong separation energy in this reading so far, but for those of you who are in separation with this person and there is ghosting going on, just be aware of the fact that they clearly do want to reach out to you and maybe they're trying to figure out how to do that. If you are in communication with this person, they might have something really pressing on their mind that they want to get out to you, and they're probably preparing to do that. And then last but not least, we have please send a prayer for me. So if you do like to pray, if that's something you do, maybe send a prayer out for this person. They are asking for that. If you don't pray, it could also just be like energetic support, you know, sending them good energy, thinking positive thoughts towards them. So, all right, let's get out tiles and charms before I get ready to close out your reading. Okay. Now this part does get a little bit loud, so if you're noise sensitive or if you have your headphones up high, you maybe want to mute it for just a second here until I lay everything out for you. Okay. It's not as many as I normally get. Interesting. So we did have A and N coming out upright right away, and now we have a second N, so the name Anne could be significant. I'm also seeing van, so maybe somebody drives a van. We have another V as well, so there's duplicates. Maybe somebody has double letters in their name, or like their first name, last name could have like the same initial or something. That is all I am seeing here so far. I also just heard Vivian come through, so somebody's name could be Vivian. Okay. We have a cross, so somebody in this connection could be Christian, or maybe there are religious differences between the two of you. And then lastly, we do have a butterfly charm, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of change that comes from this connection. This could also be indicating that more change is on the horizon. So, and I did see that the nature of the connection seems to be filled with change. So again, not surprised that that came out for you. What we're gonna do next is pack up the tiles and charms, and I am getting ready to get out your personal message. Now, this message doesn't have to have anything to do with the connection at all whatsoever. This is meant to be just for you and however it resonates with your life. So if you'd like to take a moment to recenter yourself, focus on bringing your energy and attention back towards you again, you're welcome to pause the video, take a couple deep breaths, or do whatever you would like to do that. So your first message is the lion, and if you have made it this far into the reading, I would love it if you would let me know by dropping a lion emoji down below in the comments. Maybe some of you out there are Leos, or Leo season could be important to you. We have the lion with control. If you have moderate aggressive impulses, this is an invitation to control your temper. You are encouraged to explore how to express your needs or thoughts more openly and constructively to reduce your level of frustration. And they say that anger is a secondary emotion, right? So behind anger is usually either fear or sadness. So if you find yourself getting heated or upset in any given situation, if you're able to take a moment to like have a pause, hit that pause button and go within and see what the more vulnerable feelings are behind that frustration, that could help to, temper yourself back down again, possibly. But anyway, we're going to get your affirmation of the day out now. And I do highly encourage you to affirm this with me. This is also one of my favorites. It's a very positive one. So you can affirm it by commenting it or reading it out loud or just listening along, whatever you see fit. It is today I am ready to receive love. Today I am open to being loved by another healthy person. And I always say emphasis on healthy. It's really important to attract healthy connections in your life of all shapes and forms. So I'm going to leave this reading here though. I want to thank you so much again for joining. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day or night. And until next time, bye for now.